Hi guys, how you doing? If you're like me and you are not sleepy yet, or perhaps you're in some other country and you'd like to know how to help your business improve customer experience, then by all means join me on this journey. Today I will be having a conversation with ChatGPT on customer experience, simple but effective in 2026. So let's hop in. Right. So the first thing is the reality of customer experience in 2026. Now, for a lot of the professionals out there, the product owners out there, when you see customer experience, you essentially think of surveys, whether it's customer satisfaction survey or customer effort score survey or NPS surveys or contact centers. And then, of course, some people think of CX as complaints management. That era is over. In 2026, CX is expected to be operational. This is what ChatGPT is saying, not me. So we will have a discussion around that. The companies who are winning have many CX parts of how the business runs and not the department. So it doesn't matter whether you are working in compliance, it doesn't matter whether you are working in technology, it doesn't matter whether you are working in logistics or procurement or legal. There is always an element of customer service in everything. Because now, when you think of customer service, think of it as every part of the body. You've got the head, you've got the hands, you've got the tummy, you've got your legs, you've got your bottom. Forgive me. But every part of that body has a functional role. And it's impossible for that body to work effectively if each of those parts are not doing what they need to do. So that's essentially what customer experience is now. That's what it is in 2026. So, irrespective of your department, everyone needs to have an orientation, a culture of customer experience, whether it's in ensuring that you procure the right things so that customers don't eventually hate those things, whether you work in logistics and you ensure that the delivery of goods and services get to their customers on time, whether you are in strategy and you're taking a look at the entire orientation of the organization and seeing how that can be planned towards ensuring that all customers are happy, so to say. The point I'm trying to make here is that think of CX as one that is functional, one that is an element of every single part of your business. Now, the simple truth, according to ChatGPT, is that customer experience is the speed at which a company removes customer friction. Not brand, not slogans, not delight, just removing frictions fast. So it has an example here. One would be ensuring that delivery arrives as at when you have promised. So if you have an SLA with your customer that says you will deliver in 2 days, ensure that that good or service is provided within that 2 days. That is CX, removing the friction of the customer waiting for the third day or leaving the customer wondering whether the product is even going to arrive. And this happens sometimes with some vendors, in Nigeria. The goal here is to ensure that you fulfill that promise, essentially. Another example here is making sure that the process of getting a refund happens within just 2 clicks. Now, for organizations that customers are not happy with their product, how easy are you making that refund process for the customer? How do they have to call you and stay on the queue? And eventually, when they get through to you, you give them a very long form to fill. And when they fill that form, it takes you about 3 working days to respond to them. And then after 3 working days, you spot an error and then you get back to the customer and say, sorry, sir, you need to fill this, you need to correct this. By the time you're done, almost a month is over and the customer has lost interest altogether, and of course, lost interest in your organization. So another example is having support respond in minutes. Now we're in an age where a lot of companies are leveraging AIs and chatbots to ensure that responses are provided fast, seamlessly to the customers. The age of having to speak to an individual over the phone and stay on the line for maybe 20 minutes while you are burning your own airtime before you can eventually get support, that age is beginning to slowly wade away, with the streams and the oceans and the waves of time. Now you need to see how you can ensure that support is done just like that. So what we see now these days, and this will continue to happen in 2026 and many years to come, is people are allowing customers to have self-service options where they click once, they get redirected to a bot that looks at the list of what the likely problems are. They pick the one that has to do with them, and then the bot takes care of the rest. It escalates to the right departments. The customer gets an automated email, and then something is done to ensure the resolution is provided, right? So the goal here is to ensure that think about your customer journey, especially when it comes to support as a business. How can you reduce the efforts that they go through before they can even get support from you? You know, so there's that. And then, of course, the last example of removing friction is ensuring products are easy to understand. Ensuring products are easy to understand. I hope you can hear me. If you can't, please just type yes, just so that I'm sure that you can hear me. So the goal here essentially is, if you can hear me, so I've joined in. Hi, Dean. How's it going? I'm very well. I'm very well. Very well. Awesome. Yeah. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, just just say hello on the chat. Cool. All right. So let's go back to what we were saying. Where are you, ChatGPT? Awesome. So we've given 4 examples of how you can remove friction from your business fast. The first one is ensuring that delivery arrives as promised. The second is ensuring that it's an example of ensuring that refund happens within just 2 clicks. Another example is seeing that support responds in minutes. And then the final one is ensuring that your products are easy to understand. Now, this can be quite funny. Now, let's think about getting a product many years ago, whether it's a phone or a TV, and then you've got this huge manual that you have to read through in order to make sense of it. The world has moved from that level now in terms of customer experience. People have designed products in a way that, or at least the good ones, have designed products in a way that it's intuitive to understand now. So essentially, it's easier for you to use that product even without having to read the manual. Let's face it, how many people out there actually have the time to read manuals? I do it somehow, but in reality, I just try to figure it out myself, right? So that is another way to show customers that you are invested in their customer experience. It's another way for you to remove friction altogether. And yeah, those are the 4 examples of removing friction when it comes to customer experience. So let's talk about this truth. Because of all I have said, by the time you take away friction from your customer journey, what you've essentially done is made life easy for your customers. And let's face it, that's really the idea of all businesses, making life easy for customers. Whether it's you watching a movie, you know, Netflix is recommending the right channel to you, is recommending something based on what you've watched yesterday. They are removing friction. The friction of you having to scroll through the countless number of movies on the platform in order for you to be able to pick something that speaks to you. But the way the algorithm or the razzmatazz magic works is that it looks at it simulates your preferences based on your history, right? And because of that, it can say, hey, this guy loves romance movies, so I will recommend romance movies. This guy loves action movies, and I will recommend action movies. These guys love psychological thrillers, and then I will recommend psychological thrillers. Friction eliminated, you know, it makes your life easier. And you can think of this, if you're not a movie watcher, you can think of this across other things that you do, other products that you interact with. And I'm referring to the products that you really love. You would find out that something is consistent across all these great brands. They do their best to eliminate friction. And once that is done, chances are you would stick with them much longer. So, what simple, we're talking about the second one now. And it says, what simple, plain customer experience should mean today? So think of customer experience as a mammoth of some sort, or let's just say an elephant. Now, in order for you to make sense of that elephant, nah, elephant is not what we want. Let's think about maybe a Mercedes Benz or a Jaguar or a huge, beautiful car. Now, in for you as an engineer to make sense of that car, you'd have to strip it to parts, right? So think about CX as an engine of some sort. And in today's day, you want to see CX in four ways, and this is the four ways that all businesses should consider CX according to ChatGPT. And one is clarity. Ensure that customers understand what it is that you offer. Remove ambiguity from it. If you're selling food, you're selling food. If you're selling, sex, why did I say that? You're selling sex. If you are, what's the word now? If you are selling entertainment, you are selling entertainment. Remove ambiguity. Don't leave the customers confused as to, is it a dog or is it a cat? Is it a lion or is it a mouse? Is it entertainment or is it food? Is it spiritual or is it abstract? Don't leave your customers wondering. Let them know exactly what it is. This, for instance, is a CX channel. I'm not doing entertainment, or maybe I'm fusing a bit of entertainment. Hey, who knows? But the goal is to break down customer experience in such a way that every person who has a business can make sense of it and use it to improve their business. And I've got a bunch of videos on my channel. Please subscribe and take a look at my channel, by the way. I've got a bunch of videos on my channel that speaks about customer experience. So back to the topic at hand. Ensure that clarity is there. Don't leave your customers wondering. So that's number one, clarity. Number two important element is reliability. Now, everyone understands what reliability is. If you're married, reliability means that the marriage works. Your wife works. You are sure that your wife will do what she needs to do as a wife. You're sure that your husband will provide for the family. You're sure that, your girlfriend will come whenever you call for her. You're sure that your dog would bark whenever a stranger comes. That's reliability, right? You're sure that your phone would dial your mom whenever you hit the dial button. You're sure that the gas cooker would spark up that flame to cook your food whenever you turn the knob, that is reliability. So ensure that you consistently deliver reliability. That's absolutely important for your business. Think of the brand you're currently using. Think of that product that you love so much. I can tell you for a fact that reliability is one of the reasons why you're using that product. because you are sure that whenever you pick up that product, A, B, C, D will always happen. X, Y, Z will always happen. You know, WTS will never happen. That is reliability. Reliability that certain things will always happen. Reliability that certain crap will never happen. Forgive my French. Then the third thing is speed. Let's face it, we don't have patience anymore. People don't have patience to sit down and watch a 20 minutes YouTube video. Some people do, but many don't. And that's the reason why shorts are blowing up these days, because people's attention span are very small, you know. And that speaks to the need for man, the need for individuals, the need for customers to get quick value for whatever it is they're doing, quick response to whatever queries they're asking. So ensure that as a business, you think about how you can constantly solve problems for your customers quickly. Because I bet you there are a lot of people out there who are doing the exact same thing. And then the last one, we've talked about clarity. We've talked about reliability when it comes to stripping down customer experience into four things. We've talked about speed. And then finally, we're going to talk about respect. Everyone wants to be respected, you know, irrespective of your religion, your tastes, your likes, your dislikes. People want to be respected. It's just human. So ensure that you treat your customers the same way. And the one way to show people that you do not respect them is to ignore them. That is one easy way to show people that you don't respect them. You simply just ignore them. So it's absolutely important for you as a person to ensure that your business respects customers. It's absolutely important for you to do that. So, what next? What next? What next? Now, most companies fail because they chase experience design instead of operational discipline. And here's an example. A bank redesigns its mobile app interface, but it still takes 10 days to reverse a failed transaction. Your app looks awesome, but it takes you a long time for you to reverse a failed transaction. What's the point of beauty if there's no effectiveness, right? What's the point of beauty if there's no effectiveness? So it's absolutely important for you to think of the operational element of customer experience. You know, so let's talk about the big shift that is happening in 2026 right now. In 2026, CX leaders are moving from listening to fixing. Here's the old customer experience model: you collect feedback, you build dashboards, and you present reports. You collect feedback to know the pulse of your customers, to understand what makes them tick, to know what makes them happy, to know what makes them dissatisfied, to see if they are loyal, to see if they are willing to recommend you or promote your brand to other people. You build dashboards based on the insights you've received. So you know what your NPS is, you know what your customer satisfaction score is, you know what the customer effort score is. You can see trends in terms of satisfaction level, yada, yada, yada. And then you present reports to stakeholders. Fancy reports. Everybody knows that you are doing well as an organization or you're not doing well, as the case may be. However, customer experience have moved away from that. It still involves that, yes, and I'm not saying that all those indices or metrics or parameters are no longer important. However, CX now is about doing. It's more about doing. And one of those ways is it detects friction fast. And then once it detects that friction, it fixes it within days. And then it now measures if complaints drop off. So let's look at the old model and fuse it with the new model. You've done a customer satisfaction survey to X amount of customers, and those customers are saying, we are not happy with the fact that it takes 3 days for you to do a password reset whenever I forget my password. Now, you have that insight, old CX model. Now, you take that insight and you do it in the new CX way, which is one to remove friction very fast. And how do you remove friction very fast? You sit with your IT team, you come up with a solution, and you make that 1 month, 4 days, 5 days issues something that can be done within minutes or even seconds. And then, more importantly, once you've done that, you roll your satisfaction again, and then you see if that particular complaint has dropped off. Or let's say you even have a contact center and they capture interactions on the CRM tool. By the time you have implemented this particular fix to ensuring that password resets are done within minutes rather than days, you should begin to see a decline, a drop off of complaints that has to do with password resets. And I'm not saying a total eradication, but it should significantly drop because it is when that happens that you can say that, yes, whatever it is you've done was effective. So you see what the new CX model is. It's not just about running fancy surveys. It's not about finding out the customer's pulse. Question is, what do you do with that pulse? And more importantly, how fast do you resolve whatever issue they are facing at that point in time? And then once you resolve that issue, you find out if whatever fix you've implemented has actually made a dent in the level of problem or issue or challenge, as the case may be. So let's sum that up with this. The best customer experience teams today operate almost like internal consultants with authority. Yes. So the KPMGs, the Deloitte, the Ernst and Young, your CX team acts like internal consultants because they know what the problems is. They work with the stakeholders to quickly fix that problem, and then they measure the effectiveness of the solution that has been implemented. Right. Now, here's an interesting conversation. AI disruption in CX. Here's a very important conversation. AI disruption in CX. So let's see. Artificial intelligence has changed the customer experience game. And this is not necessarily in the way people think about it. So let's look at the bad use of AI and the good use of AI. The bad use of AI says human beings are replaced with bots. We are hiding behind automation, and then we are creating frustrating chat loops. A lot of people do that. So they use AI in CX. They don't have as much people as they should handling those key functions. And then they have responses that are like loops, right? Same old thing, devoid of emotion, devoid of care, the very definition of friction. Now, that's the wrong way to use AI. Now, let's look at the good use of AI. Good use of AI includes predicting issues before customers complain, summarizing customer conversations instantly, detecting patterns across thousands of complaints. One, very important, predicting issues before customers complain. So think about that. If you are able to see that your app is about to crash, say in 4 days, AI has given you the historical trend, and you can see some patterns and trends that say this is going to happen to your app in 4 days. With the use of AI, you can quickly do whatever it is your IT guys need to do, wave their magic wands, do whatever it is they need to do. And that prevents the problem from happening, right? And if it's a problem that is bound to happen, so to say, then you can also proactively engage or communicate to your customers such that when it does happen, they are prepared. What customers hate the most is surprise, after all, negative surprise. Um, then another good use of AI is summarizing customer conversations instantly. This is already happening now. On my Google Pixel, I'm not. This is not a promotion, by the way, but it's fact. On my Google Pixel, I noticed that there's a feature that allows it to summarize conversations. So even on my WhatsApp community channels, I can see that pop up that basically says, "This is what this individual has said in a few short sentences." So that is a key tool that can be very useful when you are sieving through a lot of open text information, right? As an organization, it can quickly pick out the key text that can allow you to know if a customer is happy, and if they're not happy, what areas do you need to look into, and things along those lines. So that is a good use of AI. And then more importantly, it allows you, good AI should allow you to be able to detect patterns and trends in the complaints that you are getting. So over a period of time, you can tell that the frequency of people complaining about the user friendliness of your app is increasing. You know, that allows you as an organization to begin to plan towards it. It allows you as an organization to begin to dig deep into what might be responsible for it. It allows you as an organization to be able to pull those customers together and have sort of like a customer forum to understand why they feel that way. So AI makes your job easier operationally, but it doesn't necessarily eliminate human beings, because it is the creativity of human beings and that soft touch that really makes customer service beautiful for a lot of people out there. So don't think of AI in a way where it just makes your life easy but removes humanity or the human touch. And think of AI in a way that allows you to be able to reduce the time that you put into some of those operational tasks like data analysis, you know, predictive analysis, and things along those lines. So here is how we wrap that up. The smartest companies out there use AI to amplify human problem solving. Amplify human problem solving and not replace it. And not replace it. So let's talk about the brutal truth most organizations ignore. The brutal truth most organizations ignore. Most CX problems are leadership problems. I know this for one. You know, most CX problems are leadership problems. Frontline staff usually know what customers hate, but here are the things that block it: policies, they block fixes, departments work in silos, no one owns the end to end journey. So CX teams will just end up reporting pain instead of removing the pain. So the CX department is saying this is what the problem is, this is what the challenge is. But in reality, the root cause is not being addressed. Root causes like the organizational heads just playing lip service to customer service because they're asking themselves, well, how does it translate to sale? And because of that sort of mindset, because of that type of discussion, what happens is they pay lip service, they don't provide actual service. They would not channel money or budget into actually fixing those issues. And then what will happen is, and this is surprisingly annoying, sorry to say, is they expect their CSAT scores to get better. So agents smile, agents do this, agents do that. But there's only so much smile that you can give to a customer if the root cause is not fixed. you know. So it's absolutely important for some of the bottlenecks that go into overthinking solutions to a problem or putting your money where your mouth is, so to say, in order to solve an issue. If those things don't happen, the problems won't go away. It's even if you have a magic stick, even if you are a Potter, even if you are Severus Snape, even if you are Voldemort, I'm sorry, the problem is not going anywhere. Right. Um, so let's talk about number 6. I think this is the last one. Before I call it a day, for everyone who has joined, thank you very much so much. Thank you very much so much. Thank you very much so much for sitting through this so far. The future CX leaders need to prepare for three things. And these three things will define strong CX leaders going forward. So, are you considering a career in customer experience? Is that something that interests you, something that excites you? The first thing you need to think of is operational influence. And that means that you must be able to change processes, not just report insights. Your goal is not to, and I've worked with someone in the past who made that very clear to me, that your goal is not just to say, this is what the problem is. Your goal is to see how you cannot work with people to fix the problem. Of course, yes, as a CX person, it's not like you can debug softwares or fix app glitches and things along those lines. But you can take that insight to the IT department, pull them together, work with their bosses, escalate, to senior leaders who can actually use that information to engage them to ensure that the problem is fixed. At the end of the day, if a problem of that nature exists, the business will lose money, right? So by the time you show them the cost of service or bad service, so to say, that should do some form of research, right? Anyways, the point I'm trying to make here is you must be able to change processes as a CX leader and not just report insights. Two, data storytelling. You need to turn customer signals into clear business actions. You say, someone might say, I'm just in customer experience. Why in God's name am I doing this? But the truth about it is, shush, mm, yes, you're in customer experience, but customer experience, as I said, is just more than just taking what people don't like and presenting it in dashboards. No, it's about turning those customer signals into business actions. And you use the power of the data that you've harnessed in the course of the surveys you've run, in the course of the analysis of the complaints you've done, in the course of the stakeholders or the customers you've engaged with, and convert that into clear business action. So, a good example would be you found out that, let's say you are in the health insurance space, and then you've discovered that customers are unhappy with 5 of your service providers because they are nasty, because they are rude, because they really don't care about their customers. And you've seen that insight. Take that information, because you've seen a clear pattern over, say, a 6-month period, pass it on to the provider relations team and recommend that they take a call that allows those organizations to come on an intervention of some sorts. Give them a 1 month or 2 month plan to get their shit together. Yes, I said it again. To get their acts together. And they will be able to use that information, right, to either stay and do the right thing, you know, or the provider team can also say that, hey, 2 months, these guys are not changing. We can't have them on our list anymore. We can't have them on our portfolio anymore. And then you get rid of them, so to say. So that is one way to turn the information, the insights you've got into clear business actions. Now, I need to point this out. As a CX person, chances are you would not be the one to take the final call as to that business action. But what you can do is you have the data, you have the evidence, you have the stakeholder engagement, you have the ability to be able to speak to people and get them to see the importance of this. So you use that information, let them agree on business actions, agree on timelines, and then follow up with it such that something is done about the problem at hand. The third one is cross department leadership. Customer experience, like I started this conversation with, is beyond just a department called customer experience. Elements of CX is in finance, excuse me, it's in legal, it's in logistics. In fact, it's in every arm of your business. So, cross departmental leadership. Ensure that you need credibility across all of them. Credibility across all of them. You need to get every single one of those departments to be invested in a customer experience culture. And it's only when that happens that it becomes easier for them to take whatever insights you are sharing with them because they see how that translates to the success of the business and then use that insight to scale and do what is necessary. Okay, so I think that's been a good 20 something minutes on CX. I will explore this soon again, perhaps next week or in 2 weeks' time. But I think this was a good conversation. So, for anyone who has been part of the live session on customer experience, thank you very much. And in summary, you know, customer experience is just beyond NPS. It's just beyond customer satisfaction score. It is everywhere, every part of your business. And if you want to make change, you need to see one, how to drive leaders to buy into that mentality, how to drive the various stakeholders, how to drive them to believe in that mentality. You know, as someone who is in CX, think about using that data to drive proactive business actions. Don't just present fancy dashboards, you know. At the end of the day, for your customers to be happy, you need to do what is required to remove friction from their lives. Plain and simple. Peace out. Thank you.